This is the second video. If you haven't watched the first video, you should go back and watch it before continuing with this one. Now, picking up where we left off in that last video, on the left here is an image of linear A. This is the Minoan writing system. We haven't been able to decode this yet, so it's still a mystery. We think we can work out what some of the symbols mean, which is why we're able to say that we think that the palaces were redistribution centres because they're depicting agricultural items, but we're not entirely confident in even stating that. The Minoans have often been suggested as being a peaceful, or not warlike society anyway, because there's not very many military depictions in their art and also in the images used in linear A. But even if they were peaceful, they weren't just influencing the island of Crete, they had influence elsewhere too. This on the right is an image of the caldera, or crater, from Santorini's volcanic eruptions. The island of Santorini is also known as Thera. This caldera is 7.5 by 4 miles wide, with 300-metre cliffs on its sides. The depth of the caldera is 400 metres deep, meaning that only massive ships can anchor within its protected bay. Before the Minoan eruption, it was pretty much circular. These gaps mostly formed during that period. The eruption was one of the biggest in the last few thousand years of human history, and it is one of the best known events of the Bronze Age. This was a massive volcanic eruption, about 3,600 years ago, and that would have been at the height of the Minoan civilization. The island of Crete lies only 68 miles to the south, which really isn't very far at all when such a giant volcano goes off. Classicists are unsure why the Minoan civilization fell. Some environmental historians suggest that it was caused by this volcanic eruption. A massive tsunami in particular hitting the north of the island of Crete. Certainly, it's very likely that the amount of ash and debris that fell on Santorini would have sterilized the soil, meaning no more crops could have been grown on it. Archaeological excavations find a huge settlement called Akrotiri, which tells us an awful lot about life at the time. This shows signs of specialized textile production on the island, leading classicists to identify Santorini as the best known Minoan civilization outside of Crete. It is often called the Bronze Age Pompeii. You might know what Pompeii is yet, but we're going to come back to it in a later week. The town of Akrotiri was preserved under the layers of volcanic ash, and it had many large and wealthy homes, as can be seen from the wall frescoes on this slide, and also from the running water supply, which is the oldest known in the world. This water supply probably took advantage of the volcano's heating. It seems that the volcano spewed a bit of stuff before the big eruption, and it seems that there were some smaller earthquakes which caused the people living in Akrotiri to flee. We think this because archaeologists didn't find any bodies or many valuable artifacts. It seems that Akrotiri was a colony of Crete of sorts, because it's very similar in its layout to other settlements on Crete. Or perhaps it came under Crete's influence because of expanded trade and commercial economies. Agriculture seems to have been limited on the island, as the island is very arid and desert-like, but they may have been able to grow lots of olives and lots of figs. It's estimated that several thousand people lived there. The people seem to have combined Minoan and local styles in building and in fresco painting. I will pick up from this point in the next video, which is going to have a quick look at the impact of the eruption and what this might tell us about the end of the Minoan civilization.